For once, Pagani Design is here to save the day. Well, let me explain. In the last few months, the world was charmed and still is, for better or for worse, by the marketing genius feat of Amiga and Swatch collaboration. Yes, just in case you're only now returning from a long mission to the moon, or let's say to Mars, they managed to produce this. Frankly speaking, apart from the printed Amiga logo and Speedmaster branding, the rest of this timepiece is kind of underwhelming, to say the least. Amalgamation of plastic everything and cheap nylon Velcro straps. So my guess is that Pagani Design decided to save the day, to right the wrong, so to speak, take some of the design cues, which they do sometimes, mix it up with all the premium materials and, yes, price it 3 times cheaper. Is the result any good? Well, we have it here. Let's find out. Hello and welcome back. I bought this watch on AliExpress anniversary sale, which I covered in my previous video. There are definitely more there where this one comes from, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything. And by the way, do visit me on Instagram. I post reels and photos of watches and some of the behind-the-scenes shots that don't always make it into my YouTube videos, and I will leave a link in the description to my Instagram page. This is version 5 of this watch, and there are some subtle but quite important changes made to this version, and I will cover them in this review. Okay, a spoiler alert, one of those changes is actually a sapphire crystal bezel insert. Pretty cool at this price point. Well, as they say, trust but verify, so we will definitely test this in this video. This watch also comes in more colorways, black and blue, and some with a date option. If date is important to you, make sure you select the colorway with the date. I went for this white and red one because I already bought Mission to Mars, Moonswatch, and I wanted to have a bit of fun comparing the two. I paid $65 on sale for this watch, and I believe due to the sale, the seller also included this strap. I'm not quite sure if it will work with this particular colorway, but it is a good quality 20mm strap with a signed buckle, so thank you very much. I will leave a link to the listing of this watch on AliExpress in the description of this video. I think the price is back to normal now, but you can knock it down as always using some additional coupons and discounts. If not, do shop around or wait for another sale, which is never too far on AliExpress. Okay, let's take a look at the specs now. Case width measured 9 to 3 o'clock is 42mm, bezel diameter is 40mm, and the case height is 14.3 millimeters. About 1.5 millimeters of that is taken by this nice double dome sapphire crystal, which is raised high enough to possibly qualify as a boxed sapphire crystal, which are generally more expensive because it is more complex to manufacture. Now, despite 14.3mm measurement, the case actually gives quite a slim impression on the way it looks and the way it sits on the wrist. We will have more wrist shots throughout this video, so you will see what I mean. We have 20mm lug width, which is good and very popular size, and there are plenty of third-party strap options. Lug tip to lug tip distance is 47mm, and we have inverted end links, which will also contribute to a better fit on the wrist. The bracelet is actually very comfortable, and we have a slight taper down to 18mm at the clasp. The full length of the bracelet will cover just over 8.5-inch wrist, or about 22cm, and on a supplied stainless steel bracelet, this watch weighs 150 grams. Pretty good weight for a stainless steel watch. And here is this watch on my about 7-inch wrist. Case. We have a full stainless steel construction here with combination of brushed and mirror polished surfaces. The top and the flanks of the case are brushed, and we have a well-defined curved polished bevel that runs full length of each side of the case. The finishing is pretty good, the transitions between the facets are well defined. We have fixed bezel with a mirror polished stainless steel base. I really like how well the case is assembled and the quality of finishing, especially taking into account the price point of this watch. We have chronograph pushers and screw down side crown. The crown is well proportioned and is easy to unscrew and operate. Turning to the back of the case, we see a screw-on back case case, again with a combination of brushed and polished surfaces and with some kind of space mission theme engraving, going quite well with the aesthetics of this watch. As I just mentioned, the build quality of the case and overall finishing is pretty good. Again, I probably will be saying this a few times throughout this video, taking into account the price point of this watch. Further, we have declared 100 meters of water resistance, which in theory will make it a very practical timepiece. However, I would still not advise swimming in this watch because I'm not quite sure how well water-sealed are chronograph pushers, for example. Crystal. We have a nice double dome sapphire crystal here. As I mentioned earlier, I think it might almost qualify to be called a box sapphire crystal due to how prominently it sticks out above the bezel. And by the way, here we have another one of those important upgrades that I've mentioned earlier that was introduced in the version 5 of this watch. Updated anti-reflective coating. And to be honest, it looks quite effective, definitely giving a good legibility to the dial. And while we're on the subject of crystals and sapphire, let's test another update introduced in this version, sapphire bezel insert. I think it is pretty cool. Well, frankly, not something we see often on the timepieces under $500 or even $1,000, let alone $100. Looking at the dial, it does look white, however, there is more to it. It is silvery white or white with a touch of silver, whichever version you prefer. At close inspection, we can see a kind of silver dust texture to the dial. I think it is really nice, however, it does make my job a bit more difficult because it is more challenging to photograph this watch with all those shiny surfaces. We have nice clean printed markings and branding. I like the indented subdials as well as radial pattern on the inside of each of those subdials. All of this gives the dial a kind of three-dimensional, more interesting and somewhat more premium look. Way better than just having a simple flat print. There is also a lume upgrade on this version. I wouldn't say that lume is crazy fantastic though, but I'm willing to forgive it taking into account all the other features and improvements on this watch. And again, the price point of around $70. As for the movement, we get a well-established Seiko VK63 Mecha Quartz movement here. One of the best quartz chronograph movements with combined quartz and mechanical components, giving us an accuracy of a quartz and the smooth sweep of a chronograph second due to the mechanical parts of this movement. This movement normally runs 2 to 3 years before we need to replace the battery. A quick run over the subdials. The subdial at 3 o'clock is the 24-hour current time indicator, the subdial at 6 o'clock is the running seconds indicator, and the subdial at 9 o'clock is the chronograph minute accumulator, up to 60 minutes. Now, the bracelet. We have inverted solid end links, which is good. I also like the pattern of brushed and polished surfaces on the links. And yes, the bracelet links are also solid. The links are held together by pins, which is fine at this price point. And we have 4 removable links on each side of the bracelet, which will give us good flexibility when it comes to the bracelet length adjustment. Now, I must say that even though the bracelet is comfortable, well put together and visually looks pretty good, the finishing and tolerances are not as good as on the case. It feels a bit light, which of course does have its benefits, however transitions between the facets are not as well refined, so something to keep in mind. Moving on to the clasp, we get a well-built milled scissor clasp mechanism with pressed body and pressed extension. This is the clasp that Pagani Design uses on a lot of their other models, and it is robust, functional and has 3 marker adjustments, and yes, it is branded as well. Do we need a diver extension on this watch, or is it one to go over your spacesuit? I don't think it will work properly in either of the cases, but hey, it is there, and it was probably more expensive for Pagani Design to modify the clasp than to simply keep the extension in it. So we have here a very solid offering from Pagani Design at a very compelling price. Yes, the lume maybe is a bit weak and the bracelet is not as well refined, but neither would be a showstopper for me, not at this price point. I really like the combination of good quality and premium components on this watch, that is sapphire crystal and sapphire bezel insert, Seiko Mecha Quartz movement and a full stainless steel construction. What are your thoughts? do share with us in the comments, and of course do not forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.